Hi, my name's Mike, and I'm here to talk a little bit about my layout. I'm in several Facebook groups and have several friends that often see pictures or post and have questions about how my layout's constructed. Interestingly enough, I come from HO scale as a kid and in scale as like an early adult. My house was so small when I moved into my first home that I had to go from a 4x8 HO scale layout that I had as a kid and sort of lost interest in. Like most guys do, is they start to get into cars and girls. And when I moved into my first house, like I said, it was just so small. I had to resort to like a 40x60 in scale layout, and that was built all out of foam. And I really liked it because I could just set it on a table, walk all around it. When I wasn't using it, you could slide under a bed or store it, in an easy space in the basement. And in 2017, as I switched into O scale, I started collecting first, and I just had like two 4x8 sheets of my in scale layout that I had built once I moved into this house. Put them side by side and had an 8x8 just to run some trains on as I sort of found my bearings. I had post-war roots because that's what my grandpa ran, and then I started getting interested in really big steamers, and I needed a place to run them. So my 8x8 was in my garage. I had a huge in-scale layout down here that I dismantled, and then I began building shelves on the walls to house my collection and really started trying to decide on what kind of layout I wanted. Coming from HO and N, I do like having the vantage point of seeing the entire layout from one spot, not having to walk around a basement or a building to see all different pieces of it. So I wanted this layout to sort of have a feel of what would a 4x8 or a 5x10 Lionel post-war layout be if we just put it on a modernized scale, enough to run some big steamers and, see it all in one spot. I really deliberated a long time about, did I want to do an around the room layout at the edge of the room, 30 to 40 inches wide. And at the end of the day, after seeing several of those, which I think those are pretty cool, but because you can get a little longer straightaway on those, and you don't have as much reach. But when you design a layout like this, where you can walk all the way around it, you get a vantage point of all aspects of the trains running and the layout. So I opted to go this direction. My layout is constructed of 1x4s, or like just on my table. You can see that there. And I use all foam top. So I have 4x8 sheets that are 1 inch thick that line the top, and they're the way that the 1x4s, once assembled with the support beams horizontal, gave me the ability to set the sheets in, and you'll see they come right exact to the edge. So it's like perfect. Couple reasons I wanted to use the foam. Super easy to deal with, lightweight. I'm even debating, you notice I left an expansion part in here. I can just unscrew that, slide it back, and if I can find a spot to move all this stuff to, I could actually expand my layout from 93 inches wide and 16 foot long to 22 feet wide and still have 24 inches to walk around the layout. If I go that route, I just don't know if I'm ready to do that. To give me about another 40 inches of straightaway on my long straightaways. So layout design, 081 curves on the outside, and this is Atlas track. 072 on this upper loop, and it's sort of like an extended figure 8. Goes over, then you come down here, and a 072 loop on this inner loop here goes into what will be a mountain. You can see I've cut out all the foam, so I have access from underneath the table in case something derails inside. That's a 054 loop of track, and comes up this 063 loop, which this is a 3% incline to the crossing back onto the loop. So some interesting construction features that I get questions around are, if you notice, I use Woodland Scenics risers. These are really designed for N and HO. I did have all fast track, and you would have to double the width of the riser, and it would leave like a 1/4 inch on each side of the fast track. So I switched over to Atlas because the Atlas track is about the width of the riser. And then if you buy their roadbed sections that are foam, you can either buy strips or you can buy a roll of it, which all of this is all done with a roll. I just brought the strips to do this yard I'm about to make. The track fits perfectly. Then my problem was, what do I do to fill in that tight space in the risers? Because as you can see, my turns, there's just a width that the trains don't hit in between them as they're going around the corners here. So I was like, man, it's going to be a lot of work, a lot of plaster cloth. So I decided to give a shot at the Great Stuff Gap and Crack filler from Lowe's, and it has done great. Couldn't be more, I guess, impressed with the realism that it gives the rock. And the 1-inch foam, when you carve it right and then you paint it, it turns out amazing as well. This is that blue foam board just glued to the other side of the riser. This was a 1-inch riser all along this edge here. And it also gives me the ability to cut down into the top, like here, for this bridge. It's a realistic bridge, like you would see on the railroads, where they took leftover or old track sections and put like 7 of them, 5 to 7 of them together as the support to go across the ditch. And that's supposed to simulate that. So materials I use are Woodland Scenics risers, and you know, when you buy a pack, it shows all their different combinations and different sizes that they have. Like I said, I have a 3% incline here, which I needed to make it underneath that bridge. I couldn't do a 2% or else the train would still be too high right there and the cars would hit. 2% incline on all the rest here. And then the other supplies that I have are the foam tack glue. Once this stuff sets up, it's like concrete. I can stand on this tabletop, no problem if I have to. A lot of people think the foam isn't that strong. Well, it just depends on how you're bracing it. And even if I do miss a beam, I still don't fall through the top. The other concern, and I guess criticism that people have had around using foam, is how do you secure your track? That's the question I always get. And rest assured, this is like concrete. This is just Elmer's glue and water mixed together to do my ballast. I place 1 screw just to hold it down, and then I could remove it afterwards. I just haven't gotten around to it. And this track does not move. It's like nearly impossible. And if you look down the line, it is very straight. You know, you don't have the like, sometimes you see a wooden layout, the top board sort of does that wavy thing. And if it's not supported 100%, and I don't have any of that going on in this layout. Extremely smooth running layout and extremely quiet. So do I say this is the best design ever. Maybe, maybe not. Like I said, first time I did this in O, completely experimental. I started on this about a year and a half ago and changed it several times in the making, where, you know, it was all flat, all fast track. Well, it actually started all MTH, real tracks. Then I decided, I really like fast track. I'm going to switch over to that. Then after seeing some of this Atlas track and having used Atlas on my HO and in-scale layouts, I was really intrigued and tried it out for a little bit. Originally buying a loop to use outside, and then after testing it, I was like, whoa, this track is like awesome. So really pleased with it. And I guess my next steps are, you know, finishing this yard here, which will be a logging area for logging industry. I have a coal siding over here for the outer loop for coal train. And when the train goes up into the mountain here, there will be logging and coal. And as I've said before, I may extend it another 4 or 5 feet out here, just to allow for maybe a little city scene. Haven't 100% decided yes or no on that one yet. So if you have any questions or any tips or tricks to share on your own foam layout, please do, because, you know, I'm pretty new to this still, and this has all been experimental and just sort of building it as I go and trial and erroring stuff, and just excited to be in O-scale trains. I love seeing other people's ideas, and I'm subscribed to a lot of YouTube channels. So please subscribe to mine, and we're in this together in the model train world, and let's see some cool stuff. So thank you and have a good night.